Yo, it's your boy AJ. I'm here with Rage and Chubbs. We about to break down the Suns got swept. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. You're now tuning in the Hoops World.
Hoops World.
James.
Right here, the king is like, hey, guess what? I'm still the king.
I hit the streets just to get a bag. I pack, he got toe tagged. I punched the nigga for shorty. I'm John Woo with the 40. You not gang nor the homie. Don't blow me, no, you don't know me. Gang shit, members only. You wasn't there, I was lonely. You wasn't there, I was lonely. Dog nice blicky on me. I was just stacking my commas up. Head down, trying to run it.
Yeah, man. Suns are down bad. The sweep has been completed. A superstar was born tonight. And we had this was actually an enjoyable game to watch. I'm not gonna lie. This was a banger.
The Timberwolves just won their first playoff series in 20 years, and not only that, it was a sweep against the Phoenix Suns, the super team.
Yes.
Went off these past 2 years on getting, they have Devin Booker and they traded for Beal, and then they traded, for Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Look at all that. They just traded for KD during the trade deadline, and then over the offseason they acquired Beal. They went insanely super team heavy. It looked like the Timberwolves were on the down low going into this year because we were like, why would you trade for Rudy Gobert? They got gentlemen swept against the Nuggets last year. So we were like, Timberwolves, what are y'all doing? But look at them now.
Look at them now.
A star.
We're going to talk a little quick about the game. So at halftime, man, the Suns were leading 61-56. KD had 20 at the half. Devin Booker had 19 leading the way for Phoenix. Anthony Edwards only had 9 points at the half, and Karl Anthony Towns had 15. So Minnesota was within striking distance. 3-point shooting, it was a rock fight tonight. It was until the third quarter, these teams were shooting bad. I think at halftime, the Minnesota was shooting like 12%. Suns were shooting like 33%, but it was more of that want to grind it out game, midi game, get to the rim game. But Rage, Chubbs, what do you guys think about the first half? Why were the Suns so successful in that first half? Because they were up 61-56.
Desperation. I mean, look, you got to defend home court. You're already down 3-0.
Yeah.
You know what they say: a series doesn't really start until the home team loses.
Yeah.
And just to lose your first game in your home court in the first series, I mean, you have to play with some pride. So I'll say that first half really was just was the pride.
Yeah.
Or let's not go out like a bunch of suckers. Let's actually try to fight.
Yeah. KD and Book didn't really go. I like how they didn't go out without a fight. I feel like KD put a lot of pressure on the rim. Like he wasn't doing this in the other games. Like he wasn't as this aggressive trying to get to the line, and so was Devin Booker. Like they knew, like, okay, if we're not going to shoot threes, we're going to go to the rim, and they decided to go to the rim. And like I said, KD had 20 and an efficient 20 at the half, and Devin Booker he hit a nice little shot at the end. So I'm like, okay, going into the half, I'm like, the Suns got a little momentum, but Minnesota's right there because they're keeping up with their rebounding. They're just making a big effort on the glass and not turning the ball over as much, but. We get to the third quarter, things get shaky in the third, but Devin Booker just went crazy. He kept the team in the third. I think he had 18, if I'm not mistaken, 18 points in the third. The Wolves shot better. They shot 70% in the third after shooting like 12% at halftime. The key after the third quarter, rebounds. Offensive rebounds, Minnesota had 15. Second chance points was going crazy for Minnesota. Rage, how do you feel about that third quarter? I mean, going into the fourth, the Suns only had a 2-point lead, but Devin Booker, he pushed it in that third quarter.
Honestly, like going into that fourth quarter, it looked like it could go either way. To be honest, I wasn't set towards like a certain direction. Like, although it was like, this might not be sustainable. Devin Booker and KD were just on one, and Anthony Edwards was just kept going back and forth. Like it was unbelievable basketball. Like
Edmund was cooking in that third. Like he started to warm up. I mean, he had that. The thing I love about Ant, we're gonna get to Ant in that fourth because that fourth was Jordan-esque. He just gives I just love the energy he gives, man. Like it's like on both ends. Like where do you see stars like this? Yo, I'm getting good to my midi. Hit it. I'm gonna dunk on you. I'm gonna hit a three. I'm gonna talk shit, and I'm gonna block shots and lock up Devin Booker at the same time. Like I just love that two-way energy, bro. Like it really was crazy in this game and the second half. Then we get to the fourth quarter. This was where the superstar Ant was born. it was just heavenly. I mean, you see the defense, the offense. He made a staple in this game. And Devin, it's like with the Suns, Bradley Beal, man. Oh my God, Bradley Beal. Why is he so ass? Why?
I need to
talk to me.
I need to cook up with Bradley.
Please cook on Bradley Beal because this was insane. What Bradley Beal?
For what it's worth, I am a huge head of 2010s basketball, and for me, one of the teams for 2010s basketball was the John Wall and Beal Wizards. They were pretty. John Wall in his prime was something special to watch, and Bradley Beal as his like number 2. That was beautiful basketball.
Yeah.
John Wall went down with injuries. He's clearly he wasn't the same guy. He left. Just Bradley Beal. For so long, we were like, damn. Imagine if the Wizards built around Beal and let him get into the playoffs. Because for one, they just accepted Beal just to go crazy. Willis, they just try to rebuild. And we're like, yo, why don't they trade and get some for Beal? Let's see Beal in the playoffs. Because once John Wall left, Beal turned into a whole different player.
Yeah.
A completely different. He turned into a whole different beast.
I think he got a scoring title when he was with I remember he had a scoring title with the Wizards. Yeah.
He turned into a magnificent 3-level scorer.
Yeah.
So for those last 2 years in Washington, every time it's like he got in front of a camera, he made it his mission to look visibly miserable. Like that one video that got popular, he was praying. He looked like he's about to cry. He just dropped 60 points.
Yeah.
So you go out your way to look that miserable. Finally, you get your shot. You go to a contender with KD and Devin Booker. Now your role is a little diminished, but you can still get busy. You know what I'm saying? Bradley Beal as your third guy, that should be lights out for a lot of defenses.
Yeah.
And you come out and have the series you have.
Oh my God. Bro, this man had 0. I remember it was like the second quarter, and this man had 0 points and 3 fouls going to the bench. And I'm like, what? His first bucket was in the third.
That man finished the game with 9 points.
Yo.
Like I'm saying, where was the Bradley Beal that was dropping 60? Where did he go?
Bro, he's missing bunnies. He's smoking layups, missing middies, bad fouls, turnovers that are crucial. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is disgusting. This is really just like this whole game, this whole series for Bradley Beal. I'm like reconsidering in my head, like, did we overlook him in Washington? Like, is he not what we thought he was? Like, he's not like we thought. Bradley Beal was a legitimate all-star. Like we called this a super team because we thought Bradley was gonna be Bradley, like all-star, scoring 30, give me 25, 30, 3-point efficient shooting. We thought it was going to be that type of Bradley Beal, like sniper Bradley Beal.
We've seen Bradley Beal drop back-to-back 60 bombs, drop 30 bombs, play up to team. Some Wizards fans, when he was on his last year in Washington, they had him on that star guard level. And I'm talking going into that level of the Kyries, games like the Bradley Beals in those pools. So it's like this is the level of player you're getting in Phoenix, and for him to have 0 points for damn near the whole game, he played 31 minutes and he finished with 9 points.
It was bad, bro. But yeah, we'll talk about more about Anthony Edwards. So this fourth quarter, man, and like I said, it came down a little bit to the wire, but I want to shout out to. First of all, the Timberwolves are just the better team, not only led by superstar Anthony Edwards, but Karl Anthony Towns, man. Rage, talk about Cat, because me and Ray just texted, and I told him, I was like, we were talking about Wolves and Nuggets, and I was like, yo, if Cat could match Jokic's offensive output, it could be a series. It could be a series. Well, talk about Cat, man. I told you, Rage. Cat.
I'm not gonna lie. If we really break it down, Cat is one of the first centers that was really offensive gifted like that. One of the actual first. He would he obviously he was just one of those guys, one of those actual big centers, regular centers that's just beast doing everything, that's shooting the ball and not just in the post, but just doing stuff outside of that. There was Boogie, and then there's him.
Yeah.
And there was
it's just the way he can the way he can score at different levels is just absolutely insane. Because not only that, he can be a force underneath. He can help set screens and pop and roll. There's different things he can do. And the thing is he can create himself sometimes.
Facts. Go ahead, Chubbs.
Yeah, I'm saying like Anthony with Karl Anthony Towns, for what it's worth, to see him finally blossom in a playoff series is beautiful. If anything, it's the exact opposite of what Bradley Beal was.
Yeah.
When he finally got an opportunity on a quality team and he's just showing up like being the shooting big. And it's very like it was one of the deciding factors in this series, given the fact that Phoenix had no shooting big. Like they had Timberwolves had the wings to throw at Booker, to throw at KD, to throw at Beal. That outside threat more so from the 4 and 5. They just couldn't get that. Meanwhile, he had Cat, one of the best, the best shooting big in the league, one of the best shooting bigs in the league.
Yeah, he has a quick 3-point trigger, and it was on fire tonight. Like, I think the 28 points, 10 rebounds, 4 for 6 from 3, that's going to go underrated because this shows they're all going to talk about Ant-Man. It's going to be Ant-Man all over the news tomorrow. But people got to understand, like, people got to recognize Karl Anthony Towns, 28, 10, 4 for 6 from 3 is amazing. Like, he was Ant-Man's wingman right today, and it was a great showing. Quickly before we end this, going forward, we're going to go with the Wolves first. I want to go with the Wolves, and then we're going to cook with the Suns. Wolves looking forward to the Nuggets. What are you guys' predictions, early kind of previews? Just a quick take on what you guys think is going to happen in that series. Who's going to be the X factors?
So it's Wolves versus Nugs, right?
Yeah, it's going to be Wolves Nuggets, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah. That's huge. It's gonna be massive. Like it's gonna be Jokic versus Cat. There's gonna and the thing is that this is gonna be a really good matchup because both of these teams play team basketball. Every single person on that floor is essentially doing something. It's not like where it's Phoenix where it's like you have your superstars providing your offense and that's it. And although they're pretty damn good at it, it's pretty hard to put out the same output, especially if you're not good at defense. Not only are you not good at defense, but you also are depending on your stars to score. And if they're not scoring, you essentially have nothing.
Yeah.
Their defense wasn't awful tonight, but it wasn't great either.
Yeah.
Ant was cooking, Cat was cooking. You had a lot of people putting out good we had a lot of people putting out good offensive output.
These are two of the most balanced teams in the West, and it's like going down the line, they both have really good. They match up perfectly, because Nuggets have Aaron Gordon, Jokic, big power forward center. You got Cat, Rudy Gobert, big power forward center, and then you got Jamal Murray and Anthony Edwards, two dynamic guards that can score, get buckets. So it's like they match up perfectly. I just think whoever has the better offensive output, they say, do the Wolves have enough firepower to keep up with the Nuggets? That's the key, I think. And if Cat and Ant can match Jamal and Jokic, then it's a up for series. We don't know who's X factor.
It's huge though. You got to think like if Cat and Ant can continue to put this up, you got to think like going into the series. Well, coming from Cat's end, Cat has historically not been great in the playoffs, and this was one of the first playoff series where like at least this game where he really showed like that he's like that, and really showing it. And it was huge for them, not only Timberwolves, but for him too. And then obviously Anthony Edwards, because this is, I said this to you, this Anthony Edwards might have put out the two best playoff series for a player ever. Like the first two, he averaged 31, 5 and 5 against the Nuggets last year in the gentleman's sweep, which is ridiculous for a first year, by the way.
Yeah.
And then this year, you saw what he did. You saw what he did today. Not with the help of Karl Anthony Towns, but him, he really dominated that fourth quarter. Anthony Edwards did that. Anthony Edwards did all that. And that's insane to do against, superstars who have been in the league, who have insane playoff experience, with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Bradley Beal has obviously, he has playoff experience even in Washington.
Yeah.
There's that's a big task, and they swept them. That's different.
Crazy.
It makes you think of them in a different way. Going into the Nuggets series, they're not just some push off.
Oh yeah, that's a big fact. Go ahead, Chelsea, real quick.
I'll say this: the Nuggets Timberwolves potential playoff matchup. It comes down to the brilliance of Nikola Jokic. Off the strength, Nikola Jokic is the only big I've ever seen in NBA history that doesn't need a point guard to pass to him. That needs to play make to him. He can just roll smoothly. So it comes down to how Rudy Gobert tackles Jokic, how Jokic takes advantage of potentially Cat switching onto him, because I think that's going to happen eventually in that series. As far as I'm concerned, Anthony Edwards, outside of Nikola Jokic, could potentially be the best offensive talent on the floor. Especially coming off this series.
Like, they might have to take Rudy Gobert out some possessions, because like you said, Nikola be a point guard sometimes, and Rudy's gonna have to keep up with that, so they might have to put Naz Reid on.
And Jokic is not afraid to bully ball into the paint. We saw that with AD.
So it's gonna be tough for Rudy.
But then you got to think about it too with Nikola Jokic. Like, the thing is if you bring Rudy Gobert up to the perimeter, what do you that's some trouble. You don't want to bring Rudy Gobert up to the perimeter if you're Minnesota. So it's like, and the thing is that Nikola Jokic, he can, obviously do shit in the paint, but he can do stuff outside of it too, from the 3-point line, obviously, because he can shoot, but he can play make as well. There's a lot of things. He's just so gifted that it's going to be really tough for Gobert. And Nikola Jokic historically has really insane outings versus Rudy Gobert. I mean, me and AJ talked about this earlier. He has some insane outings.
His average,
outings. Just look it up. It's ridiculous.
Last time I think he had 40 on him, but let's get to the Suns. Oh man, the Suns fans, man. It's been a year for y'all. Y'all got the big three. We thought they were favorited going into this series, favorited to win it all, and they are down bad. So I know there was a quick stat that said the Suns don't have any first-round draft picks till 2030, no second-round draft picks till 2030. Their cap space, they got 3 guys taking up what is like 190 million, crazy amount of cap space. They're basically stuck. And
I'm gonna pull out the calculator real quick because I want to. This is a crazy.
They got Bradley Beal's going to get 50 million going up in his next years. Katie's on for another, I think, 2 years or a year or so. Devin's on his contract, and then it's like, what do you do? Let me ask you guys, what do you do if you're the Suns? Like, how do you make this team better, or do you run it back again?
I have a spicy take with this, so Rage, you go first.
I'm honestly, I don't know. I don't think Devin Booker and Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant is going to work out. I think moving off of Bradley Beal, you might have to do it early.
It's like he has a no trade, but it's like, how do you tell him, like, yo?
No, I don't know. You're stuck if you're Phoenix. I don't think
KD is never gonna be like, yo,
I think you just have to figure it out. I guess you got to find your coach. I don't know. This is
because Bradley's
maybe you move. I don't know. I don't think you
might have to move Grayson. Maybe Grayson, and
but you're not going to move Devin Booker.
Grayson just signed.
I know, but you might have to move. I mean, what other way could he do? Like,
they're stuck, y'all.
I have a conspiracy theory. I have a tinfoil hat connecting the dots conspiracy theory. If push comes to shove, I wouldn't be surprised, pie in the sky, if the Phoenix Suns mess around and trade Devin Booker to maximize value. And try to cash in on the duo of Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal off the strength. One, Katie is an aging talent, and he has about two years, I believe, left on his contract. If anything, you have to try and cash out on that value. Number 2, Bradley Beal, he has a no trade clause. So, number 1, you're already restricting yourself of potentially getting a star to pair with Book and Katie, even in a sense. And he might as well just say, no, I don't want to go there. And then you're just stuck. Number 3, Book.
Who's gonna want Beal because of his contract also? So it's like that's a $50 million. We just watched what he did, and he's getting $50 million for the next couple of years. What?
On top of that, when it comes to money, Book and Beal are gonna make the same amount of money in 2026. Guess the combined numbers. That's $114 million. Just on those two. Kevin Durant's a free agent by that time, I believe. So that's $114 million just on 2 guys. One has a no trade clause, and one you can potentially trade if down the line for better pieces if you really want to try and contend. That's my tinfoil conspiracy theory. That's my like spicy ass take.
Yo, that is, bro. It's gonna be insane for the Suns, man. I mean, we'll see what they're gonna do, man. They're in like We thought the Nets were in purgatory. The Suns might be in hell. Like that's how bad their
Not having a
finances.
pick for the next 6 years is diabolical.
Their finances are really,
Man.
really bad, bro. Like,
How
it's
do you not
unbelievable.
have money for the next or not money? How do you not have any picks for the next 6 years?
6-7 years?
I'm really
man.
not. That's another key why I think D Book might be out of here because you have no picks, so you can't even leverage. Okay, we can't give up all these players. You have to give up some players to get what you want. So, goddamn, D Book is the best person you can get on that team for value. Like, if anything.
I don't know, man. Because if I'm honestly, a Suns fan, I'll die over trading.
That is true though, because because Devin Booker is easily the person like in terms of age and just overall talent. Yeah, Devin Booker definitely has the most value in terms of anyone on that team, and he is probably the most movable. I guess Kevin Durant might be too, because who knows, he's trying to get a championship and he might be wanting to get out, so he might be the one to move. In my opinion, just because that's just how Kevin Durant has just been. Who knows? He might want to move again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It just makes sense if you really want to find a championship team.
Let us know in the comments if you rather choose. If you had to break it down, would you choose Devin or KD if you wanted to trade? Like, I think Suns fans are going to choose Devin. But if you had to break it up, this is where it comes down to. You either run it back with this team, or you break up the big three. Either trade Devin and trade KD, try to get another star or young players to attribute with whatever's left, and kind of scrap up the pieces, balance the team out. You get your cap space up, so you can balance the team out, and you see what happens, because this is not good. This is not.
If only Bradley Beal didn't have a no trade clause.
Yeah, this no trade clause messes everything up.
Because you got to think. Look how much money he's taking up, and look at his production. This is bad.
Yeah,
this is bad. You'd easily just have to move off of him. You just have to find someone else. I think you'd realize if you could move off of Bradley Beal that you just have to transition to an actual point guard.
Yeah,
just a regular point guard. You don't have to. I don't think you have to get necessarily another insane superstar, but you need to have another good all-star.
Yeah, it was crazy. If they gave away Campaign and they gave away Chris, it's like those are 2 point guards they could definitely use in this series.
Yeah.
Like,
Chris Paul, I can understand.
Chris Paul, he's aged the money.
But Campaign they could have kept. But the thing with Chris Paul is, for me, Chris Paul and LeBron James are alike in a sense. When they get to teams, they peak early, and when they peak, you really can't do nothing else with that core. Once you get them, it's kind of like you have to cut your ties. So, for what it's worth, the Suns with CP3, they did kind of peak, and it's kind of just redundant. You want to try something new, but you had Campaign. I believe there was another guy they had, but you had Campaign. You could have kept him. He's getting good minutes for Philly.
Yeah, they need better bigs too. Like, I would have kept. I know that people don't like DeAndre Ayton and Ayton wanted to leave, but I'm sorry, bro.
They traded him.
I would have kept Ayton. I don't know what the situation was, but you need better bigs than Nurkic and Eubanks. Like, they're not going to get it done. They're not going to get it done. But make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. Let us know in the comments, Suns fans. What's your plans of what's going to happen next? And then Wolves fans, you guys should be on a high. Ant-Man is here. He's arrived. So appreciate you guys so much. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at HoopsWorld0. We'll be back at Hoops World.